Good evening, everyone. We were supposed to meet yesterday, and then yesterday did not work out. So I'm here back today to discuss with you how to analyze your mock CAT. And because you are taking EOMs, Endeavour Online Mock CATs, we're going to specifically focus on everything that you see on the mock CATs, question types, the interface. But before we start, the most important question. Today is 25th of August. Why are we doing this session right now? Is there any particular auspicious date? I mean, yesterday was 24th, we could have done on 24th, now we are doing it on 25th. Why are we doing it right now? Because from here till your CAT, you have exactly 3 months. And between now and your CAT, whether you are my crash batch student who started a month ago, or you are my long-term batch student who started 1.5 years ago, you have given some EOMs, you might have given not a single EOM. Whatever your status is, what's going to change between now and your actual CAT, if you want it to change positively, the one thing that will help is your analysis. Because without an analysis, you are just a machine. And that is what I don't want you to be. I don't want you to give every single EOM, come out of it disappointed, go into the next EOM, come out of it again disappointed. And if you don't want to repeat that cycle of disappointment, that's where your analysis comes into play. I'm giving you this introduction for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, I have gained from analysis. 2006, I was an Endeavour CAT student. I know I'm moving a lot of back and forth, but I have to, ये दिखाना भी पड़ता है इसीलिए. So 2006, I was an Endeavour CAT student, and I joined in July 2006. I even remember my batch start date, 9th of July 2006. I had my CAT somewhere in the middle of November, 10 days before you guys will have your CAT, somewhere around 17th or 18th of November. And our test series started only around September. So that analysis, I'll give you a difference because I was a crash batch student. My batch code was A10 at Endeavour. In the first full length test that I took, out of 150 students at Endeavour, I was ranked 148. I was so badly prepared, and that was not like a very early test that happened somewhere in September. Between that test and the next full length test that I took, which was approximately 25 days later, I went from rank 148 out of 150 to rank 2 out of 150. How did I jump? The answer is analysis. In that 3.5 month preparation, I ended up with a 98.72 on CAT. I could have gotten better. It was not the lack of anything that I got from here. It was just that I was way too busy with my office work. From 98.72 in CAT 2006 to a 99.95 in CAT 2011, and everything else that I've been able to achieve in my life, I owe it to analysis. Analysis for me as an ex-student of Endeavour, as a faculty member and a team member of Endeavour, analysis is what we have received in inheritance. Our emphasis on analysis. How do you analyze a mock CAT? We are the only ones in the market who actually give you a session like this. We are the only ones who will go into a session that is going to last for an hour almost. Why? Because I said it is an inheritance. The person who started this entire thing is an IIM Ahmedabad graduate. How did he reach IIM Ahmedabad? Same answer, analysis. It is not just about how good you are. It is a lot about how much better do you want to be. All of it depends on this word called analysis. So that's why I want you to understand today or tomorrow or day after, whenever you see this video, how to analyze a mock CAT. I know that what I'm about to explain in the next half an hour or 45 minutes might just leave you a bit distracted or worried about, does it take so much effort? The answer to that is yes, it does. And that is coming from someone with a decent experience of getting into a CAT and cracking it. दादा लाइव है तो बोलते बोलते गलती भी होने वाली है, बीच में शायद छींक भी आ जाएगी. Pardon me for any of the things that happen. let me get started. So, animations, that's what they teach you at B schools. I always say that. Where do we start? This is your Vega test portal. This is where you see the test that you have taken. If at all, you, the person sitting there watching this, is able to say, sir, ये तो मेरा account है, I know ये किसका account है. But if you are able to say, sir, ये तो मेरा account है, thank you so much for giving me this account, because I am just taking pictures. I have not revealed the name of the person. Anyways, sir, this is where I start. Correct. This is where you start. Then, when you start, you see statistics. Sir, what do I do with the statistics? Take them as a benchmark. What are my statistics? This statistic. So, my answer is be greedy. You see a donut here? Sir, I see a pie chart. I'll call it a donut. You see a donut here? What does this donut show? How much did you not eat? This yellow thing is, what did you not attempt? Eat more. Increase the number of attempts. Don't just leave 50 or 60% of your questions unattempted unless you fall into the category of people who are yet to cover enough content. And I know that I'm teaching so many crash batches. If we have not taught you, the worst thing that you can do on your CAT or on your EOMs is to attempt something that has not been taught. You are hurting your score, you are wasting your time, and you are unnecessarily negatively affecting your morale also. Why do you want to see those negative marks when you know that you are attempting something that you have not been taught? Don't get into the idea that maybe a fluke will work. Flukes work only in politics. They don't work on CAT. Second one, time statistics. What does it tell me? It tells me, you see this, that red and the green. What am I to worry about, if any? I am to worry about the average time for incorrect questions. Dude, I have taken more for the incorrect ones than the correct ones. What is it telling me? That is telling me that I probably don't have that right selection strategy. How do I spend more time and get an answer incorrect than the amount of time that I spend to get an answer correct? This is going to establish an unnecessarily inverted ratio. I don't want to come to the conclusion that the more time that I spend on a question, the greater the probability that it is going to be incorrect. Where do I start? This. What is this about? This thing is going to become your goal setting. I'll show you what goal setting is. But in the next test, before you start, you should have a table in front of you where you will have. Now, this is going to be combined with the analysis for everybody who has been giving EOMs. When you listen to the analysis, you were just in an analysis before you came here. In that analysis, you must have heard my senior verbal faculty members, my senior quant faculty members, my senior DI and LR members tell you what was the good score. And that good score very, very clearly applies to anybody whose 80% or 90% of the CAT lectures are done. Crash batch people, you're not worried about the good score now. You will take these tests later once you have reached that 85 or 90% of my CAT lectures. At that time, when someone tells you that, okay, today in quant, a good score was 20 attempts, 18 correct, 2 incorrect, that would give you 18 into 354 minus 252. You should have that chart in front of you. That the next time I take my EOM, I want to get 18 correct and 2 incorrect. Ideally, you should get all 20 correct. But, sir, why not get all 26 correct? I wish you did that. But there is a difference between being realistic and being optimistic and being unnecessarily adventurous. That's what you want to avoid. So this table should be in front of you, that in verbal reasoning, I want to get these many correct, maximum these many incorrect. That's what my score should reflect. And then this is going to be my benchmark going ahead. So tips. What do you do when you have to analyze a mock CAT? First things first, you analyze a test only after solving the entire paper. Why? Because, you realize that in the analysis, your analysis is complete only after you solve the entire paper. Yes, we are still discounting questions on topics that apparently you might not have been taught. So those in the later batches, yes, when you come to the analysis, this time is going to go down. But otherwise, for those who have completed their lectures and think that they have a clarity about their strengths and weaknesses and are taking those mocks, not the mocks, the analysis part, as a way of building your content, as a way of learning more, developing more clarity or more confidence, or finding a better approach to those questions, those concepts which you are not very confident about, which apparently go into your weakness area. For them, you will need that extra time. So what do? When you are analyzing a mock, you will have to solve the entire paper. I repeat, star mark, asterisk is the entire paper in context of things that you have been taught. If you come across a question type on a concept which is very clear to identify in quant and DI, verbal, again, yes, if you are looking at questions in verbal ability, for example, rearranging jumbled sentences or finding the odd one out, maybe your batch has not even reached verbal logic. We've shown you summaries, but only in RC2. So that's okay. This means for everybody who is done and for everybody who's going to start taking the analysis seriously, because they will reach a point at a certain time where 90% of their lectures, I'm being very clear, I'm not saying 90% of your solving is done. Sorry, that is not my domain. My domain is 90% of the lectures are done, 90% of my content is completed. After that, you start taking your mocks, the analysis of the mocks very seriously. That's where you realize that for a test like this, for a 2-hour test, and we now know that CAT is going to be 2 hours this year. So 3 sections of 40 minutes each. For a 2-hour test, you will end up spending around 3 to 4 hours for the analysis. This is not just the analysis. This is a 2-part thing. What is that 2-part thing? That 2-part thing, the second part is going to come later today. And that second part is the real thing. If the analysis is supposed to give you confidence, if the analysis is supposed to tell you that you deserve better, not just to deserve better, you are going to get better. There is a guarantee that you can perform better. There is a sort of a clear evidence that it is not just about things inside your head, you can actually perform. That is what my second part is. So if you wait for another 15-20 minutes, we'll come to that second part that absolutely turns around the entire saga. So expected time, quant, 26 questions, approximately your actual exam time would be 40 minutes, but when you are sitting for the analysis, you're looking at a timeline of around 60 to 90 minutes. Same with verbal, another 60 to 75 minutes, same with data interpretation. And I'm going to say it again, when you analyze the test, you don't just look at the number of correct and incorrect answers. If that's what you are going to do, you are wasting your time here. You are going to waste your time with your actual EUMs also and in your actual CAT also. Just looking at number of correct and number of incorrect and why did you go wrong, that does not help. That definitely never helps in terms of improving. That might help people who have given the CAT 3 or 4 times. That's not going to help anybody who has taken the CAT, who's taking the CAT for the first time. That will definitely not help somebody who has taken the CAT earlier and came up with a very disappointing score and is desperate to improve his or her score this time. So, next, where do we start? This is where you start. You see the question, you sit with a timer. You sit with a timer because you want to check how much time do you spend on each question. And I repeat, when you see the question, you first make a note, this I have been taught, I am going to attempt it. This I have not been taught, I am not going to attempt it. If at all you want to use our inbuilt filters, something that some of you might want to do, I am not recommending it. I am just telling you that my Vega Test portal has this facility also, where if you want, you can first filter out questions according to particular subject or topic or difficulty level, and attempt those questions only. That is up to you. My point is, when you are analyzing, you have to note these things. First thing, time taken to solve the question. ये पूरी स्लाइड लानी पड़ती है यार, मैं कितनी बार बोलूंगा, इसीलिए टाइम टेकन टू सॉल्व द क्वेश्चन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वाई? भाई सब कुछ वही है. I mean, CAT would not be so difficult if it were not a timed exam. If it were an untimed exam, so many people would be sitting with a 100 percentile or 99 percentile. Time taken to solve, very important. Sir, वो कैसे? अरे एक छोटा stop watch ले लो यार. You've invested so much into your CAT preparation. Use your phone. But sir, phone पे तो distraction आता है. अरे उसको flight mode में करके use करो नहीं यार. Life में इतना distraction control नहीं कर सकते आप. Difficulty level of the question for you. That's why I said, वो जो previous slide पे filters थे ना, I said, if possible, don't use them. Why? Because those filters can mislead you, and I don't want that to happen now. But sir, how does this help that if I find a question difficult, but the software, the iEndeavor portal says the question is not so difficult, तो sir, मेरे को तो difficult लगा ना, तो it is August. That benchmarking has to come into sync, not right now, by the time you reach CAT. So between these 3 months, the less you worry about the negative things, the more time and energy you will have to focus on your positive things. This discrepancy does not matter कि sir मेरे को जो difficult लगता है सॉफ्टवेयर उसको easy बोलता है, because there might be the reverse case also. Sir सॉफ्टवेयर को तो difficult लगा, मेरा तो 1 मिनट में हो गया, तो खुश हो नहीं यार. Find a reason to be happy. Anyways, so you classify questions as easy or difficult purely on the basis of time taken. There will obviously be your background. You solved a particular question. Sir, profit and loss? Nahi aata. I have solved so many questions. 50% of the times I get stuck. Sir, surds kabhi nahi aata. Fine with me. So then what happens? If you solve a surds question, you have been taught surds, you are not so good with surds. When you solve a surds question, surds and indices during the analysis, it will take you more time, 2 to 3 minutes. से ज़्यादा लेगा, fine ना? So you said it is difficult, solving में भी difficult लग ही रहा है. So sir, in this case, what should I do? You should solve the question, and if you realize that after solving the entire question, your answer does not match with the given answer choices, तो क्या करोगे actual exam में? छोड़ दोगे ना? I am not saying after giving a number of minutes to a question, only if you answer the question can you apply this classification. No. When do you decide you are done with the question? Whether you have an answer or you don't have an answer. That timer is what I'm going to use here. Easy, moderate, difficult, fair. 4 categories. Accuracy. What accuracy? When you're looking at the solutions, you don't have to worry about the accuracy. Why? Because accuracy is what? People tell me, sir, how many minimum questions should I get correct on the actual test to एनिमेशन नहीं डालना चाहिए था यार, बहुत मेहनत है. हाँ जी. हाउ मेनी मिनिमम क्वेश्चन शुड आई गेट करेक्ट ऑन द एक्चुअल एग्जाम, ऑन द एक्चुअल कैट और इन एन ईओएम टू गेट अ पर्टिकुलर परसेंटाइल? यार नंबर्स तो हम ही दे रहे हैं. वी आर द वंस टेलिंग यू 18 करेक्ट एंड 2 इनकरेक्ट, बट लुक एट इट लॉजिकली. इफ इट वाज अंडर योर कंट्रोल, wouldn't you want to get all 26 correct? Would you not want to get all 24 correct in DI? Would you go there and say, Adit sir ने बोला था, if I get 22 correct in verbal and 2 incorrect, I will score a 99.99 percentile. I'll score 100 percentile. तो मैं एक काम करता हूँ, after reaching 22 correct, मैं ना 2 incorrect कर देता हूँ. ये तो करने नहीं वाले. So correct incorrect is always an outcome thing. It's a consequence thing. When you are attempting a question, if you are sure about the answer, mark it. There will be genuine cases where you are not sure about the answer, but you have a strong feeling after solving the question कि सर यही लग रहा है, ले लो चांस. बट सॉल्व ही नहीं किया, ऐसे ही मन में से भावनाएं आ रही है कि सर ये लग रहा है, तो आई एम सॉरी, दैट्स नॉट हाउ इट वर्क्स. सो वो हो गया. सो एक्यूरेसी डज नॉट मैटर. नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू स्टार्ट विद वर्बल एबिलिटी. व्हाई? कैट में फर्स्ट सेक्शन वर्बल एबिलिटी था, मैं वर्बल पढ़ाता हूँ, बट वर्बल का एनालिसिस एक्चुअली सिंपलर देन एनीथिंग एल्स. व्हाई? क्वेश्चन देख के समझ में आ जाता है. Quant people have so much of an urge to try. Sir, I am not good with quadratic equations, but मेरे को लगा ये वाला easy है. Quant is that standard relationship logic. हम सब जगह try करते हैं. कुछ मिले ना मिले चलेगा. Verbal is like, sir RC है, time देना पड़ेगा. Sir पैराजम्बल्स हैं, सर ट्राई करूं, टाइप इन दी आंसर है, नो नेगेटिव मार्किंग है. सर समरीज ट्राई करूं, सर समरीज में नेगेटिव मार्किंग है, नहीं सर समरी ट्राई करूंगा. सर ऑड वन आउट ट्राई करूं, नो नेगेटिव मार्किंग. सच अ डिस्क्रिपेंसी. आरसीज में वी टीच यू दैट डोंट गो विद द टॉपिक. हम नहीं करते, हम तो पैसेज पढ़ना शुरू करते हैं, सर कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा, तो सर डिफिकल्ट पैसेज है, अरे क्वेश्चंस पे तो जाओ. नो बट सर पैसेज समझ में नहीं आएगा तो क्वेश्चंस कैसे सॉल्व होंगे. This is so right. This is so wrong. That's not how we prepare you to approach the verbal ability section. But ठीक है, अभी के लिए. So start with reading comprehension. Give yourself approximately, if you have 4 questions in a passage, give yourself around 10 to 12 minutes. If you have 5 questions, आपको दिख ही रहा होगा there are passages with 5 questions and passages with 4 questions. Give yourself 15. Sir 15 में नहीं हुआ तो अरे 20 दे दो. Give yourself enough time so that after you have given that much time and solved those questions, you should feel, I'm done. Is passage पे I cannot invest any more time and effort. Reach that saturation point because you're temporary है. You are going to get into that depth and that much effort only right now. I'll show you towards the end of the slide exactly what happens with analysis. When I started by saying every analysis is going to be 3 hours or 4 hours, people get spooked. Sir, कैसे time निकलेगा? अभी तो निकालो. August में निकालो, September में निकालो. Let's see in October whether you need those 4 hours. Do you understand that the more you get closer to your score, your desired score, the less time you're going to spend on analysis? सबको अभी से 4 महीने दिखते हैं, हमको साला 4 महीने दिख रहे. Give yourself enough time. Pay attention to what? Do you have a problem with that particular topic? It should not be, but if it does, it tells you in these 3 months, you still have the time to go out and read weird stuff related to this kind of a topic and thereby gain some comfort level. You're not going to get understanding. You're not going to like read 10 different books and come back and say, sir, ये passage तो मैंने पढ़ा था, passage पढ़ा था, questions नहीं पढ़े थे. So sir, where do I start reading? Very simple है ना. All the passages that we are giving you right now, all the passages that SCAT has been using in the last 3 years, Google कर लो, you will get the entire article. वहाँ पे जाके पढ़ लो. You want a greater, familiarity with a particular style of writing or a particular topic, Google it. I am telling you that I am creating the papers and we have all of these topics coming from online articles only or from published books. कुछ तो मिलेगा. 4 पैसेज में से 2 तो मिलेंगे. Does the topic hamper your comprehension? In which type of questions you started eliminating? Sir, 4 options थे. I started eliminating. I came down to 2 options and I was genuinely confused. 1. Are there questions where you just need a lot of time? That happens with a lot of people who are attempting, tone questions. People who are attempting वैसे तो tone questions अब कम हो गए. I think last year and last to last year we reduced the number of tone and attitude questions because CAT has not been going into there. Tone हो सकता है आपका main idea question में लोगों को time लग जाता है because apparently they are confused between something that is a main idea and something that is supporting idea. So if everybody in my team teaches that distinction कि main idea supporting idea कैसे discriminate करना है. Anyways. Did you make mistakes because you did not read the question properly? Answer choices नहीं, question. समझ में नहीं आता कि सर question मांग क्या रहा है? Is it asking me to find an inference? Is it asking me to identify something from the passage? वो कर क्या रहा है? You have to make a note of all of these problem types. After you finish passages, 4 passages, approximately 12 to 15 minutes per passage. चलो 20 मिनट भी दिया, 60-65 minutes में खत्म हो गया. Now I have 8 questions in verbal ability, 3 plus 3 plus 2. 3 in summary, 3 in rearranging jumbled sentences, and 2 in your odd one out. Again the same fashion as quant. Summary question, I attempted in around 1.5-2 minutes, should be an easy question. Summary question took me 4 minutes, has to be a difficult question. Same with rearranging jumbled sentences. If it is taking you a lot of time, it has to be a difficult question. You can't simply say कि sir वो समझ में नहीं आया. Exactly, समझ में नहीं आया इसीलिए वो difficult है. And if you're like sir वो type in the answer में तो it is usually a challenge. तो ठीक है. I am okay if you decide today or in after a month that sir type in the answer वाले questions में तो I almost always need more time. तो no negative marking है ना. तो रैंडमली मार्क कर देना. अपेरेंटली अगर आपका वो लालच जाता भी नहीं है कि सर नो नेगेटिव मार्किंग है तो टाइप तो करना है, बट यू ऑल्सो लाइक सर इट टेक्स मी अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम, तो टाइम तो मत वेस्ट करो बिकॉज कैट स्कोर दे ना दे टाइम तो नहीं देगा. सो वंस आई एम डन सॉल्विंग द वर्बल एबिलिटी सेक्शन, दिस इज व्हाट माय एनालिसिस माइट लुक लाइक. डिफरेंट क्वेश्चन टाइप्स, नंबर ऑफ करेक्ट एंड इनकरेक्ट, एंड दोस this is after I'm done solving. पूरा verbal solve कर लिया. Now I compare with the answer key and this is what I get. Next, चल रहे बच्चा, data interpretation. अब यार honestly I don't know what is wrong with these cat people, but for the last 3-4 years I think, ओए पापे जा, previous, thank you so much. ये फिर आ गया. एंड प्रीवियस, यस, ये अटक गया. सी मैंने बोला था ना लाइव में सब होता है. गिव मी अ मिनट. कौन आ गया? अदे सर इसमें तो सीधा दिल पे ले लिया. हाँ, व्हाट विल एनालिसिस लुक लाइक? एनालिसिस ऑफ डीआई सिमिलर टू रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन का एनालिसिस. इन व्हाट सेंस? सर डेटा सेट कितना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है. हाँ तो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड तो डिफिकल्ट है सर, ट्राई तो करना पड़ेगा ना, बिकॉज इट्स एन एनालिसिस. आपको ट्राई करना पड़ेगा. एक्चुअल कैट में करोगे तब का तब देखी जाएगी. सो दैट complexity of the data set tells you whether it is easy, moderate, difficult, because under questions mein, now in contrast to RCs, here I can pretty much say that only after a certain amount of practice you will be able to reach in DI that level of confidence where even if the set is too difficult, you will be able to identify one or two maybe easy questions. It's not really possible. Like RCs, there is a much greater possibility that you will come across a question where passage, not question, passage where passage is a bomb, but there are two direct questions. And for those two direct questions, because you know the approach to those two direct questions, you don't read the entire passage, you just answer those two questions correctly. Why? Because you know the approach. So, RC analysis, for each set, you give around 10-15 minutes. DI is going to take time. I was saying, when मेरी जब वो slide गुम हो गई, I said I have no clue. 2015 से लेके these people who create the CAT and every year the IIM changes, they just have a sort of a fascination for making DI difficult. Honestly, this is coming from some of the senior most people in the industry, including the people who work with me at Endeavor. DI is not so difficult. It is the hype. It is what people keep telling you. अरे DI बहुत difficult है. Why do I say that? I say that DI बहुत difficult नहीं. The thing that people will keep telling you कि यार DI तो last CAT में कितना difficult आया था, उसके पहले CAT में कितना difficult आया था. First things first, you did not even give last year CAT. How does it matter last year CAT में क्या हुआ था? Do you worry about the things that happened before you were born? No. One. Two, yeah, DI for me that is easier for me. But whatever the case, but DI मेरे को, I will say that it is not so difficult only because I have that option of not attempting the entire caselet. If you can get rid of that fear कि sir caselet में there are 4 questions, what will happen if I leave those 4 questions? My answer to that is you have another 20. When DI becomes tough, the cutoffs go down. Look at the number of correct answers or look at the score that you need to get a 99.5 percentile or a 100 percentile in quant. Compare that with DI. DI, if it is tough, it is not just tough for you, it is bloody tough for everyone. There might be those 10 or 15 or 20 or 100 people who will get a 100 percentile or a 99.8 or a 99.9 percentile. I don't even know whether they are going to be invited by IIM Ahmedabad for the interview, but there are so many of them who would have gotten 99.5 and 99.9 in their actual, in their mock cats or whatever it is. Actual cat आते आते उनका भी DI गिर के 99.2 हो जाता है यार. And that 99.2 is not, गिरा तो नहीं ना, that 99.2 is not insufficient to get an IIM call. तो खौफ किस चीज का है? What, when you are attending my analysis, I don't know whether you are attending the analysis, यार देख लिया करो, look at that gap in the scores and खुद को remind करो कि सर अगस्त चल रहा है, if I can get a consistent 90 percentile in August, गैप क्या दिखाता है? 90, 95, 98, 99. अगस्त में 90, सितंबर में 95 का टारगेट, अक्टूबर में 98 का टारगेट, नवंबर में 99 का टारगेट. वो 99 अपने आप 99.5 हो जाएगा. 100 percentile लाना है तो 100 percentile लाना बस. I don't mind. So DI not so tough if you understand that there is no compulsion of like attempting every question or worrying about every set. हाँ जो नहीं समझ में आएगा वो नहीं समझ में आएगा. And DI is like that. A Ram Gopal Verma film at times, nahin. DI is like that, you know, very difficult girlfriend. You just don't know. Nahin, boyfriends bhi aise ho sakte hain. I am not being sexist here. You know those weird people where, sir, table analysis, like tables to mera strength hai, but ye table kitna difficult hai. So be prepared for those kind of jumps also. Analysis at two levels. Difficulty level of understanding the set. Sir, set easy tha, question tricky tha. Difficulty level of the question. That is the two levels that you see at DI, and that will show you something like this. Questions के level में, sir, case lets में there were two easy questions, one fair question, one moderate, zero moderate questions and one difficult. उसमें से मैंने ये perform किया. So once you are done solving the entire DI section and you haven't attempted things that you were not taught, उसके बाद your analysis looks like this. I had said there are two levels of analysis. This is the first level, question का difficulty level. My second level of analysis would be set wise analysis. Sir, 6 set थे. This is how much time I gave and this is what I got. Next, ये फिर आ गया quant में तो है ही क्या सर? easy, moderate, difficult, time taken to answer the question. quant का मेरा analysis ऐसा लगने वाला है. Correct. That's what quant looks like. Algebra, arithmetic, whatever it is. आपको topics तो यार आपको I showed you that where to start. So you'll get the list of topics from there only. So when you compare your performance with the actual test, what are the things that you focus on? One, you solve the entire paper. अब मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? I am working on this thing called comparing when I am not stressed, and that is the most important part here. Silly mistakes कब होती हैं? Sir, 2 into 3 8 कर दिया. Sir, I don't know why did I not read this thing. Or you know how did I not understand this thing. It is stress. Let's accept stress is not the regular thing. Stress is a one-time thing. How you perform under stress is going to affect a lot of things in your life, but that does not define you. And that's why just because you made a silly mistake when you were stressed out does not mean you're going to take it as your identity that I make silly mistakes. So, did I make silly mistakes? If yes, I'm not going to worry about it. क्यों? सर जल्दी में हो गया. सर ध्यान से नहीं पढ़ा. Concentration, managing your anxiety level, that is always going to be in your hands. One. Second, conceptual problem. Sir, conceptual, because conceptual problem is going to tell you what? Okay, between now and the next UM, I have to work on this. Next is concentrations. The questions that you did not answer. Now, when I say this, I am only and only talking about questions which, based on concepts that you were already taught, but apparently when you were taking the EOM, you got scared, you got too confused. Sir, वैसे तो मुझे functions आता है, but I don't know. In this question, I just did not understand the question. Second possibility, time ही नहीं मिला. But that's also a realistic possibility. So I look at these two. It was way too tough. It was tougher than I imagined. And yes, it is always possible that actual exam it looked really tough. When you sat down for the analysis, it was so easy. If that happens, please appreciate yourself. Don't start cursing yourself कि मेरे को ये भी नहीं आता. Don't start complaining against yourself कि sir, I don't know why I can't see easy questions on the test. बेटा उम्र तो देखो यार, 19 or 20 or 21, I don't care if you are 25. अबे स्ट्रेस जब दिमाग पे चढ़ता है ना तो 40 और 45 और 50 साल के लोग भी बेवकूफी करते. तो इट हैपेंस. स्टॉप torturing yourself over little things, because I don't see how do you have that bandwidth or that time and energy. And sir, it was too tough, I'm going to get into conceptual improvement. Sir, I just did not get time. कोई बात नहीं, we are coming to question selection strategy. How do I develop strategy? That requires the word that gave me the direction to go from rank 148 out of 150 on an Endeavour mock to rank 2 out of 150 in an Endeavour mock. 148 when I was sitting at a 38 percentile on my CAT. At rank 2 I was at a 99.2. कैसे हुआ? इससे हुआ. There is an analysis that tells you what? Sir, there are some questions which are easy because I could solve them. There are some questions which are fair, others are moderate, the others are difficult. Now I have solved the entire paper. I know what I should have done during the test, but I did not. So what does that tell me? That tells me, sir, problem to identify ho gaya. I understood what I could not do. Will I be able to do it in the next test? Will I be able to implement it? That's where simulation comes into play. People talk about simulated cats and they talk about, I don't know, all kind of things. Simulated cats, so boss, it's a joke. And I can tell you it's a joke because just because you can create a simulated cat ki baat karo. Okay, let's not go there. My competition hates me for all the good reasons. So let's not talk about simulated cats. Simulation क्या है? Simulation is, sir मुझे समझ में आ गया what I should have done. Now I am going to attempt the entire paper again, but with clear targets. Every time I say this, 11 साल हो गए मेरे को ये बोलते हुए. हाँ, because I heard it from the person who created this thing and the person who was teaching me. तब वो भी बोलते थे, हमको लगता है सर इतनी मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, पूरे में फिर से करना पड़ेगा. Sir, I remember all the answers. Chill. सेल्फ कंट्रोल की बात है. इवन इफ यू रिमेंबर द आंसर्स, देयर इज एब्सोल्युटली नो हार्म. फर्स्ट टाइम पे बहुत ऑकवर्ड लगेगा, बहुत ऑड लगेगा. यू लाइक सर व्हाई एम आई डूइंग दिस, आई नो द आंसर. चिल, अटेम्प्ट इट ऑल ओवर अगेन. एक बार, दो बार, तीन बार, चार बार के बाद सब नॉर्मल लगेगा. व्हाई? बिकॉज आई हैव सेड आई वांट अ टारगेट. नो मैटर हाउ मेनी टाइम्स यू काउंटर आर्ग्यू के सर इफ आई नो द आंसर्स हाउ एम आई गोइंग टू सिमुलेट. माई आर्ग्यूमेंट इज, you really want that 99.5 or a 99.8 or a 99.95 that I had? So karo simulate. Because what we are doing here is we are changing the game. You know what was difficult, what was easy. So sir, simulation immediately karna hai, either on the same day or the next day, not after 7 days. But why not? Why? भाई आगे चल के you're going to take a mock almost every alternate day. कहाँ से 7 दिन का लॉजिक लेके आओगे? So what do I do with my simulation? I have analyzed the areas, the questions which were easy, moderate, difficult. When I retake the test in a simulated form, which means I am going to take the entire EOM again for 2 hours, I am going to set down some pointers, set down some guidelines. What do they include? I see a question, I forget everything that I have done. I see a question, I first decide इजी है, मॉडरेट है कि डिफिकल्ट है. सर ये तो पहले भी किया था, नहीं किया था. डू इट ऑल ओवर अगेन. सर इजी लग रहा है. व्हाई? सर बिकॉज आई हैव सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन प्रॉब्ली 50 टाइम्स, दिस टाइप ऑफ अ क्वेश्चन और दिस कंसेप्ट 40 टाइम्स आई गेट इट करेक्ट. करेक्ट, इट इज इजी. मैंने मार्क कर दिया Okay, this is easy. This is what I'm going to attempt right now. Next question, moderate. अभी करना है? नहीं sir, बाद में करना है. Selection strategy. Identifying. Now, and why would I do that? I would do that because I am not under the stress of an exam that could go wrong, or apparently an exam the score of which can predict whether I am going to get a good score on my CAT. I don't know आप कैसे predictions कर लेते हो. मेरे को साला ये नहीं पता मैं यहाँ से निकल के घर पहुँच पाऊंगा नहीं पहुँच पाऊंगा. आप लोग 4 महीने के predictions कर लेते हो. So, assess each question. Your target is very very simple. Strength areas. Sir, but strength तो EOM से पहले strength अगर पता होती, and if you had been able to implement your plan well, you would have scored close to your expectations on the EOM. That did not happen. So you had a perception of strength, you went into an EOM, you could not perform up to your desired strategy, but then you did the analysis, you solved the entire paper, and that analysis tells you, अबे हाँ ये तेरी strength है. You needed that reinforcement. Now with that reinforcement, now with that vindication, you come back and solve this paper all over again. And when you see a question, and now if you feel like it is easy, it's not about remembering why it is easy because you were able to solve this question 2 hours ago or 1 day ago. No, this is easy because I have been able to solve such questions in the past. Everybody is thinking, sir, simulation में तो मतलब sir boring नहीं हो जाएगा. Trust me, there are people who have tried simulation and for some very very explicable reasons, they get an answer incorrect in the EOM, then they do the analysis and they figure out the correct answer, then they simulate the test after 2 days. After 2 days, the answer is again incorrect. होता है, मैंने देखा है. I have taken people to 98 and 99 and 99.5 percentile. भाई सबके साथ होता है. So attempt all the questions and then you cross check your performance with your actual performance to realize how much strategy makes an improvement. I'll show you what it is. So where does simulation fit into the entire scheme of things? You've taken the test, then you have resolved the entire paper, you have identified your strengths and weaknesses. Not identified, you basically reassured your strengths and weaknesses, and now you sit down to simulate. So I'm allowed to repeat, you know, I'm old. Simulation is what you do to remind yourself that that entire thought, मेरी एक particular strategy है and I'm going to do it this way, that you can actually do. It's not just what you think. So it tests your strategy, tests your determination. Sir, when I was solving this question, I remembered the answer. तो method है, नहीं है, तो हम वो आंसर मार्क नहीं करेंगे. But sir, that अगर मेरे पास मेथड नहीं है तो मैं वो आंसर मार्क नहीं करूंगा. That's it. That's what simulation is. But sir, with all of the but are just buts. उनसे कुछ फायदा नहीं होगा आपको. Practice. Why am I practicing? Because everybody does. Everybody does. Every person who wants to achieve big. When I say practice, what is it? You have heard about people who are sports persons, people who are, you know, performers of a certain kind, and after they perform, if they don't perform to the level, they're going to sit and watch videos and identify where did they go wrong, and then they'll identify that and they're going to go back and practice on that thing. There are people, when there are team sports or when there are individual sports, people don't just look at their own videos, they'll also look at the video of the opponent to figure out, okay, this is where this person's weak area is, or this is how he works, and that's how I want to create a strategy. Simulation वही है. You identifying how do you want to build a strategy. So, you know, you would have heard that there was Sachin Tendulkar, he used to practice the same shot for so many hours, and there was a Rahul Dravid, and then there was an MS Dhoni, and now we have a Virat Kohli, who if he loses a match or if he gets out so cheaply, he goes out and he keeps practicing the same thing over and over again. कितनी stories आप सुनोगे, सब जगह आपको यही सुनने को मिलेगा. When people want to achieve that thing, they don't care how many hours they have to practice. एक ही बार तो CAT देना है, फिर से देना है क्या नेक्स्ट ईयर? नहीं देना है. तो यार एक बार देना है तो दे दो ना. टाइम सर, टाइम मिलता नहीं है. अरे दैट्स अ सेपरेट क्वेश्चन, दैट्स नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ माय एनालिसिस. देयर आर नो शॉर्टकट, सॉरी. मेरे को टाइम मिल रहा होता तो आई वुड नॉट हैव एंडेड अप विद 98.72 दादा, आई वुड हैव एंडेड अप विद 99.72 ऑन माय फर्स्ट कैट. मेरे को पता है टाइम का रीजन इज जस्ट अ रीजन. Oh, determined practice is endeavor. हमको सिखाया था. The more you are, that is exactly the champion's mentality. फिर I'll tell you how I implement that mentality. Almost all of the material that you guys see, Quant, Verbal DI, I have somewhere been a part of some of this material. I would have seen the questions, but for all of those batches that I've taught, if you, I mean, they have observed. It is all of the batches that I've taught. If I have to answer a question that you come up with from a doubt, मुझे आंसर पता भी होगा ना, तो भी I am going to take you through the approach. Whether it is your even EOMs, even if I have created an EOM, if you ask me the question, I am going to repeat the entire approach. Why should I? जरूरत है, क्यों मेहनत करूं? हमें ठीक है ना यार, मतलब I know the answer. I can always tell you कि explanation मैंने बनाया, मेरे को नहीं करना है. I want to take that approach. कितनी देर लगती है एक अप्रोच लगाने में? 1 minute, 2 minute. डर पता है क्या होता है? और शुड अप्रोच ट्राई करेंगे, गलत आंसर आया तो स्टूडेंट्स का इंप्रेशन क्या पड़ेगी? Neither me nor anyone in my team is going to do that. Everybody else outside has the same impression and reputation problem. अपना नहीं है भाई. I am absolutely okay with going wrong. हो जाता है यार. 12 years of experience doesn't mean that I'm going to be always right. How to simulate? Be clear about your strengths and weaknesses before you start. 1. Repeat the method even if you know the answer. I've already said this. Each section give yourself a time of 35 minutes. Now this is mandatory. 40 minutes का section काट में होने वाला 35. In these 35 minutes, what should you have done when you want to say that my simulation is going to help me increase my score? And I'm saying it again and again. If you perform simulation properly, you will see an increase in your score. In these 35 minutes, you should have solved all of the easy and moderate questions. Sir, कौन से easy and moderate? The easy and moderate that you marked when you started the simulation, not the easy and moderate that my software would tell you or the ones that you identified in the analysis. No. Simulation के time पे दिखा कि sir ये easy है. And it has to be because analysis में there was no time limit. Simulation में there's going to be a time limit. So easy and moderate. Selection strategy. Sir, when I start my test, I have already seen that I'm going to show that Excel sheet. Sir, my target was that I should have be able to attempt 15 questions. 15 attempt हुए after you're done with simulating the entire section, and at the end of 35 minutes you should be like 5 minute बचे, I'm going to chill. I love that attitude. I absolutely love that attitude. I've done that all my life in all of the exams that I've taken. Simulation वैसा होता है. That attitude where you look around, you're sitting for your cat, there's a person sitting right next to you, right, there's a person sitting on the left, and the time for the section is about to get over and they're like still furiously calculating and then time खत्म होने वाला है, and I'm sitting here आराम से 5 मिनट पहले section खत्म. And if that person, by God's grace or by God's curse, if that person ever looked to this side and like हैं ये आराम से बैठा है, मेरा अब तक खत्म नहीं हो रहा है, that is the worst thing that person can ever do. Nobody wants to see a person who is chilled out in a stressful situation. But it is possible. भाई मेरे को नहीं करनी 40 minutes मेहनत, एक्चुअल कैट में करूंगा, अभी नहीं करना. If I can get whatever I want in 35 minutes, why should I work for 40 minutes? It's a simple thing. That's what modern day computer science does. It helps you to automate. It helps you to save time. So, what will my simulation look like? Sir, मैंने टेस्ट दिया था algebra. My perception was easy. Actual EM में क्या किया? 90 seconds में I got it correct. Simulation, sir 60 seconds में correct हुआ. Arithmetic question. My perception was difficult. इसीलिए when I gave it in the EOM, I got it incorrect despite giving it 3 minutes. Simulation में, sir, when I was taking the paper all over again, because I realized it is difficult, I just skipped it. I gave it 2 minutes and then I skipped it because I realized कि इसमें और time नहीं देना है. So, sir, will I skip it because मुझे पता है कि मेरा आंसर गलत है? No, because this is strategy. I am teaching myself that whatever happens, if I have a strategy that I will not attempt questions randomly. If I'm not sure about the answer, I'm going to quit the answer. Please do that. That's what strategy is. It is okay to have 12 correct and 0 incorrect, then to have 17 correct and 7 incorrect. I know in the second case, your score might be higher. Your motivation, your analysis, your focus, your strategy has gone for a toss. I don't want people getting 17 and 7 if you can get me 13-0 or a 12-0 or a 14-0 right now. Actual exam तक ये 12-0 अपने आप 16-0 and 17-0 बन जाएगा. So that's what, I don't know how much of it I was blocking. That's what my simulation looks like in quant. Same with verbal. What did I do in my EUM? What did I do in my simulation performance? I get this chart. This chart does not take a lot of time. It looks really nice and attractive on your actual, when you're doing it in Excel sheet or if you're doing it in a piece of, in a notebook, this is not going to take you a lot of time. तो इसके बाद क्या होता है? इसके बाद you'll get something like this. This is the best thing that I took away from Endeavor during my CAT time, and each of my students who has reached a 100 percentile or a 99.5 or a 99.8 or a 99.9, all of them had these sheets. What is this? Question number, section, question type, easy questions. What did I do in my mock? What did I do in my actual? Was there a conceptual issue? I continue doing this for every single question. What do I get? I get this thing called scope. What is scope? That scope is my target for the next test. Scope is the number of questions that I should have answered correctly. Additionally, इस टेस्ट में 8 हुए, सर स्कोप तो 10 का था, नेक्स्ट टेस्ट में 10 होने चाहिए. कैसे होंगे? स्ट्रैटेजी से होंगे. कैसे होंगे? द लेस आई वरी अबाउट गिविंग टाइम टू डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चंस और ट्राइंग टू गेट व्हाट apparently is unachievable, the more time and energy I will have to get these two correct, because these two don't really come up from the difficult questions. They always come up from those easy and moderate questions. That is the worst feeling that some of you will carry about your mocks. You are not worried about the difficult ones going wrong. You are just always worried about the easy and the moderate ones. सब खुद को थप्पड़ मारते हैं. सर ये कैसे गलत हो सकता है? ये गलत हो सकता है because आप कहीं और टाइम पास कर रहे हैं. So this sheet, if you want to see it again, I'll show it to you again. Section, question type, easy, fair, moderate, difficult questions. My total conceptual issues, and as I said, quant, verbal, DI, this is what I did. I found out the number of conceptual issues, and then from there I create my areas of improvement. अब इसको वापस लेके जाना पड़ेगा ना, तो close. Thank you so much. तो सर ये एक्सेल शीट बनाने में 10 मिनट लगते हैं, सिमुलेशन में 2 आवर्स लगते हैं, एनालिसिस में 4 आवर्स लगते हैं, 4 + 2 + another 10 minutes. बीच में पानी वानी पी लोगे, खाना वाना खा लोगे, थोड़ी ब्रेक लोगे. सर यू आर सेइंग दैट आफ्टर एवरी मॉक आई विल हैव टू गिव हाउ मच टाइम? 7 hours, 8 hours. सर उतना टाइम तो होता नहीं है, निकालो. यू हैव एग्जाम्स, यू हैव वर्क, यू हैव वट एवर इट इज. बॉस वीकेंड्स पे टाइम निकालो. आई हैव ऑलरेडी सेड एक ही कैट देना है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. इफ यू आर अनेबल टू मे बी go out and do a few things here and there, because this is what happens with analysis. ये आएगा इसका ग्राफ. आजा भाई. I said it at the beginning. Analysis में ये होता है. You see a line going down. That blue colored line is the time for analysis. You see your scores going up. 1, 2, as वापस भी चला गया. Previous slide please. Go to slide. Oh, where does simulation fit? Slide 19. What will no, what should you know about analysis? This. We are about to end. 2 slides बची हैं. तो बेटा ये होता है. when we were giving mocks, October and November, we used to have a mock every second day. You really think that हम लोग रोज 7 घंटे निकालते थे, बस टाइम ही नहीं होता. So, but we realized that by the time we reach the actual CAT, analysis wala effort goes down because you are less and less disappointed. You are better with your strategy. The better you become with strategy, the less time you take in analysis. Your solving goes down. That is where you compress the time, right? Simulation to hoga. But once you are sure about the strategy in the last 15 days, if you go into every test and you come out with zero disappointment, zero dissatisfaction, you're like, sir, jo dimag mein socha tha na wo, score is not the parameter here. Score is for you people to worry about. I don't see that as a parameter. What matters to me is, because why do I keep disregarding the score? Because score आपके हाथ में नहीं है बाबा, वो CAT 1.5 महीने के बाद score निकालेगा. What do I want? Sir, 28th November I have CAT, उसके बाद I have to give another 3 exams. If my CAT does not work out, if I come out of CAT disappointed, सत्यानाश हो गया, सारे exams खराब हो जाएंगे. There is an INMAT, there is a SNAP, there is a ZAT, there is an IFT, there is a MyCAT, there is a, I don't know, IRMA का social awareness. कितने exam बिगाड़ोगे CAT को लेके? So that is why I said that thing, that after I'm done with the test, I know my strategy has worked. Once your strategy starts hitting 100%, it is okay if you don't simulate. Then just invest in the analysis. That's why the time for the overall analysis has to go down. So the entire thing summarized becomes, ये आएगा ना इसके नीचे, हाँ मैंने तो स्लाइड बनाई, क्यों नहीं आएगा? Strengths and weaknesses realistic, hypothetical नहीं. I know a question because I solved this question. I have never seen this question. I don't think I want to try this question. That is how you figure out the strengths and weaknesses. 1. After each analysis, you should have a clear strategy input, which was that Excel sheet. That in the next mock, I should be able to cover up this gap called scope. Then, identifying issues. The less you give explanations like, I mean this, I know this, it's just that on the actual exam I got it wrong. The less you come up with such excuses, the better a performance will be. Because if you look at it, ये excuse, ये जो हमारा वो, you know, the English word for this is subterfuge. This excuse that we give, कि हाँ ये तो आता था, ये मैं फिर से attempt नहीं करूँगा, उसमें आप 2 मिनट बचा रहे हो, just 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But वो नहीं करूँगा के चक्कर में, when this thing becomes a painful thing over next 6, 8 or 10 weeks, you won't even realize how this thing is going to hurt later. कितना टाइम लगता है एक क्वेश्चन को फिर से सॉल्व करने में? Give it those 2 minutes. With each mock, selection strategy improves. 1, comfort level. Like I said, you should be more comfortable in taking a mock and giving it 35 minutes, and after 35 minutes you're like, I am more comfortable with what I have done in this test than whatever I did in the last test. Then your time management should improve. Obviously it should. You should not be the person who is attempting the questions at the last minute and suddenly the timer comes up, shit, मेरा तो सर क्वेश्चन का आंसर मार्क करना रह गया, मेरा टाइमर फ्रीज हो गया, मेरा सेक्शन का टाइम खत्म हो गया. Post test analysis will decrease because you are more happy with your score, so you are less worried about the questions where you should have attempted but could not attempt an XYZ. Focus will improve. Obviously focus will improve. The less you are worried about, sir last test में भी स्कोर नहीं आया, उसके पहले टेस्ट में भी स्कोर नहीं आया, सर मेरा स्कोर कभी नहीं आता. I just go in with a lot of hope and a lot of confidence, सर मेरा स्कोर तो कभी नहीं आता. ये disappointment कम हो जाएगा. You'll be able to focus more. If while taking a test, if you are less worried about, sir आज भी स्कोर नहीं आया तो, if that thought goes out, you know, you release some mental space and you use that mental space to answer that question, to focus on that question. So then वो छोटी छोटी silly mistakes, shit ये नहीं पढ़ा, वो mistakes नहीं होंगी. If you are able to focus well, silly mistakes will decrease. This is how it works. This is what worked for me. This has worked for thousands of Endeavour students who have gone on to IIMs and XLRIs and NMIMSs and your MDIs and SPGens and all of those places. कुछ मिस किया मैंने? IFT बोलना पड़ेगा ना. Test. Achieve comes only after you follow the entire cycle. Take a test, solve it, understand from the solving, reinforce your strengths and weaknesses, simulate. That is how it achieves. That's what I did. I can guarantee, if you are ready to put in that effort, and boss, my guarantees work. I have built a reputation in this industry on the basis of guarantees. I'm not the one who says इतना स्कोर नहीं आएगा तो पैसा रिफंड कर देंगे. बस मेरे को स्टुपिडिटी करनी नहीं है. I'll just say इतना एफर्ट कर लो, स्कोर आ ही जाएगा, रिफंड की बात ही नहीं करने की है. Why worry about a refund where we can get you a score and where we can get you probably the IM or the whatever admit you want? You want to go to Bombay because Bombay is a wonderful city and you love Bombay, and Bombay में तो कोई IM नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं. Let's go to SPGen, let's go to NITI, let's go to some other place. That's the point. That is where I end. Now this is supposed to be YouTube live, which means I will be able to see some questions if you have posted something into chat. But let me confirm with my technical team whether there are any questions. If you want to post questions, I can wait for maybe another 1 minute. If not, then we end. So, can someone please confirm if there are any questions? नहीं है, because I am really not sure what the time is. Questions डाले आपने? Give me a minute. अब ये नहीं देखना ना, ये दिखाना पड़ेगा भाई, ब्रांडिंग है. हाँ जी. The filter doesn't work. Can you please share the sheet? Sheet. Good question. Sheet तो बेटा आपको चलो let me do something. Prachi Jain, I'll find a way. I'll definitely find a way. The filter doesn't work. It will work. I know it might not work. Right? मेरे साथ तो when I was making this thing, it worked. But अगर आपका अभी काम नहीं कर रहा है तो it will work. It is just a portal transition. Maximum another 5 or 7 days, the filter will start working. Any other questions? नहीं है ना? Oh, 10:15. I'm good. 1 घंटा बोल लिया मैंने. I thought I was going to finish it in 45 minutes. Neat. Will video solutions will come available? Yes, they will be. They definitely will be sooner or later. थोड़ा बहुत बेटा portal,